So we'll see how they'll be prepared. See if they can take this one slow, or if
Oh,
they or if
actually,
one of the teams are going to overcommit.
Fluffy Bunny Fits hasn't picked yet, so he may bring javelins. And looking at what the teams have brought so far, I don't think javelins would be a bad pick. But he's bringing Arminius
Arminians
cavalry,
cav.
double
So they're going for
cav.
the.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's see if Lesbos archers will counter that cavalry with their own cavalry or something else.
Well, Spannet still hasn't picked yet, so he could still go cav.
Wouldn't that multi spears actually as is also make sense to counter all of this barb cav?
It would, but then yeah, he'll definitely have to be on his A game.
I think they already have enough frontline. I mean, you can obviously have more, but with what they have now, it should be fine. Cavalry here, I think, makes more sense, because if you are in a one cavalry player versus two cavalry players scenario, and we see Shpana swapping that to that Arminius, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage.
And it looks like we are going for that.
Yeah, and especially in a scenario when the enemy team has more light artillery, you definitely don't want to have cavalry disadvantage. You want that map control that cavalry brings.
Question is, will he dedicate to triple, or will he stick with one or two?
Yeah, we'll see soon.
Yep. See, I'm a little bit worried about the amount of ranged, but this time on Lesbos Archer's side. Because although they have Germanicus and they have Leo, they're very slow moving. I mean, you can dedicate one solid infantry to guard the light arty and send the other one up. But we've got Alisar taken up with one multi spears for those two slingers, and then slow moving units, so Leo and Germanicus. That won't be enough to stop the barb cab, especially when you have one of them that's Gunga charges as well. Yeah. They're gonna have to pull some pretty strong defense moves against all that cavalry. Decisions, Spanners.
It's actually Vercingetorix Cav.
Ooh.
Vercingetorix Cav brings some very nice tools to the table. You can just charge in, Iron Discipline into Defiance, and you will hold that whatever you charged. It can be a huge blob for 23 seconds, and they cannot move you. So we've seen in the past Carminius cavalry charging in and being capped down instantly if he charged into a huge blob of infantry. With Vercingetorix cavalry, that won't happen. I mean, it will obviously die, but not for 23 seconds.
And he's locked in.
And Scorch Earth is also a very nice tool you can use to push out enemy out of position. Or if there are pikes, for example, which there are on the enemy team, right? Yeah, Liar has. He can just walk up with his cavalry, throw Scorch Earth, and suddenly he doesn't have his 100% missile block anymore, and he also has to turn back and run away or move forward.
Yeah. I do think Lesbos are at risk of losing a lot of those archers because they haven't. Well, they've got one Ambiorix archers.
You have two Ambiorix archers and slingers. Yes, both Cosinus and Osaka.
Oh, I was talking about Lesbos. Or this team.
Oh, they are Lesbos. You are talking about Gladiators then.
Yeah, this team. Okay.
We've seen also surprising popularity of Arminius Archer's pick. I mean, he brings momentum to the table, which is very good for dodging and moving around with your team.
You just cut off there.
Capture their base or cut them down.
Games begin.
Keep moving.
Okay, we see Lesbos Archer's team moving for that watchtower, also going for middle tallgrass field. So they're splitting up. Nothing sent to the city apart from cavalry to scout. A pretty standard move.
And I'm watching as they make their move towards the tower. We got the pikes moving on to take that tower. But a lot of cavalry to watch out for.
Szpana is charging that watchtower, but Parnom is first. And that's what Grungy charges bring. They win charges against tier 7. Szpanac is getting wrecked there. Though he managed to deal some nice damage in return in melee as well. And with Cousin's help, I think.
Yeah, the slingers definitely helped there.
Yeah, now
Okay,
they're
so the
capturing
light
the
artillery
watchtower.
set up. Light artillery set up in the high ground. It's a good position to be, but they do have the watchtower. They have to take that
Solution.
watchtower.
That's gonna sting.
The pikes are there. Szpanac is actually charging in. To get those spikes off guard? Almost. But his team is still in control of that watchtower. Now they have archers on top of it and their own pikes. But
Gladiators team has to take control.
Retriarius Gladiators have advantage in light artillery, so they can use that to push the enemy team away.
Alright, so the pikes are set up on the Lesbos Archers team. They now have control of the watchtower, which is going to be crucial in this game.
Magic is
having
pushing
to-
in for vision to provide that for light artillery, but he's paying a very hefty price for that.
That's what they have to do. I'm afraid they can't do anything. Spanish has done a really good job in holding back the pike players from taking that tower long enough for Magic to lose over half a unit.
You see, we finally see Alisar and his positioning, which we did not see before.
Yeah, so sneaking up with that forest, unseen by the enemy team, managing to throw some stones onto light artillery, and slingers are the best counter for that. But this Tony has his top game on and manages to dodge most of that damage. So we see some engagements in the middle fields. Fluffy Benefit roaming around. He needs to provide some vision for his team or get some nice charge. Maybe into a lesser warrior. This is possible.
That's a lot of range to be left without protection here.
Oh, Pardonov just got beautiful charge into back of Osaka and Casinos. It's a huge damage going on to Lesbos Archers.
His other units are coming as well.
Yeah, he's coming with another unit. I don't know if the enemy team is prepared to repel that attack. Cosinus is dodging, but he'll still get caught with one unit. And he's on to Osaka. That's only one Tiberius unit and one Spanish unit to protect them. If Fluffy
Nuberto
Benefit
is catching
approaches
the
here...
slingers right now.
Oh yeah, Nuberto answering with the same on the other side.
Looks like we have a disconnect. Leisure has been having some issues. We had a couple crashes from him and a DC in the previous game, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, but they'll cover it out in terms of DC, from what I've heard. So there's no remake to be made. I mean, Fluffy Benefit needs to... If he was there with Pardon providing pressure on those arches, I think they would all be gone by now. It's not happening. Fluffy Benefit now trying to sneak through onto Lesser Warrior, maybe up the hill to pressure those archers finally. I think he's doing that. He can get stopped by Nuberto.
I think is the issue how we are now. Hispano's coming in trying to eliminate the light artillery, hopefully. While at the top tower, they do seem to have the range advantage. That would be Gladiators. However, they don't have enough vision to support it. I mean, the
Fluffy Benefit coming in for archers, but being stopped by Nuberto. But Pardon wasn't stopped. Fluffy Benefit is now in the mix as well. So Osaka's archers are almost dead. Cosinus is not feeling so good as well.
Yep, almost dead, but at what cost as well? If they're going to lose the cavalry advantage, then they could be in trouble.
It's still very equal. They still have their two artillery units. That now that cavalry provided a lot of vision, so they had plenty of opportunity to shoot whatever targets there are there.
One thing we haven't seen
is Nuberto charging in again. Ooh,
one thing we haven't
block.
seen is Strike KC's Roman infantry and where they have gone off to. They fought down below near the entrance of the city, and whether or not they're going to pull up and put some pressure on the light artillery.
Yeah, there's Gladiators are committing too many resources into protecting that light artillery, and Nuberto just can charge into slingers and archers unprotected and unpunished. So when I'm closing in, they have vision on those light artillery units, and that will be a huge damage. It's only a few volleys to take it down.
That was very punishing.
That's all it takes, and there you go. Here is Strike KC's infantry, taking up more of the infantry of the light artillery.
Dodishan doesn't allow Alasar Warrior to do that unpunished though. Barnum is coming for another charge. Or not really.
Looks like he didn't have the
a charge.
opportunity.
Span's trying to catch him with guard. Alistar were actually charging Partnum in the turn.
Nuberto got Shlomi's last slinger units. Nice charge there.
Yeah, both cavalry players on both teams are doing their best to kill enemy range units, and they're doing a very good job so far. Spanas now coming into Dodishan, but I think he doesn't have a charge yet.
Side.
Yeah, it looks like he doesn't have a charge, but Nuberto does. That's a beautiful charge against Barricade as well. They're now pinned down. And finally infantry is coming in with Pirate and Stroy KC with their infantries. Tiberius Maximus with his pikes from the other side. And that's the last remaining units on Retriarius Gladiator side.
Yep. Looks like they can close in for the final kills now.
Sit on TV trying to go around the spikes, maybe deal with them or catch Cosinus, but it's not going to happen.
And Retriarius Gladiators have called it. GG. They fought well, fought hard, but it wasn't enough. Lesbos Archers go into the finals.
Well, yeah, unlike with the disconnect, but I don't know if that would really make that much of a difference. But yeah, they have a point. But we've agreed that if a player disconnects, especially so far into a battle, we are not going to do a remake.
And yeah, and fair play by Magic, who is not asking for a redo.
Yeah, and he wished Lesbos Archers good luck in the final, which we do as well. And I could change my overlay into 3-0, but I didn't prepare that yet.
We're going to need you some time to go and prepare that. A really good game by Lesbos Archers again.
Yeah, and they're still undefeated, going for a flawless run throughout the tournament. We'll see who they face in the final, but before final ever happens, we still have another semi-final to finish. Then it's the third place match between Retriarius Gladiators and whoever loses the second semi-final, which can go either way. Actually, I think those teams in that second semi-finals are much closer together. Almost closer together. Closer in terms of skill between each other.
Yep.
So it can even go all 5 games. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Let me actually see the other stream. What Baron is doing. I think they just finished the battle. He didn't upload update his overlay yet. I mean, they just finished, so it's now 2 minutes after. But the second final, semi-final is going on. Yeah, he's not changing the overlay. I think we could actually go there, though they have only 2 spots.
Then let's maybe do that and see what's going on.
Can do.